Severance, it's finally back on Apple TV Plus. It's been gone on hiatus for nearly 3 years. It's been a long
Mm.
time. Severance season 1 came out in February of 2022, and through word of mouth, it became one of the most talked about shows of that year. And I had heard about it a couple of months after it debuted, and so I locked in about halfway through the season airing, and ultimately it turned out to be one of my favorite TV shows of 2022. It made my top 10 of that year, and I think rightfully so. A lot of people consider it one of the better TV shows of 2022. It had critical acclaim. It received a ton of nominations at the Primetime Emmy Awards that year, and it really kind of sort of cemented Apple TV Plus once again as like one of the better streamers for quality television shows, because it was taking this high sci-fi concept and adding in some pretty well-known star power, people like Patricia Arquette and Christopher Walken. A lot of the episodes are directed by Ben Stiller. It had all the pedigree, for people to really know about it. We've talked a lot about also Apple TV Plus and just maybe the lack of knowledge and awareness that people have about some of their shows. But I think when people talk about Apple TV Plus, a couple of shows come to mind. One, first and foremost, is likely Ted Lasso. And I think now at this point, Severance is kind of inching its way into that conversation, especially on the drama side, as one of the more well-known TV series that people know about on Apple TV Plus. But it's been 3 years. It's finally back. We're just going to quickly, share our thoughts on the first 3 episodes that have debuted. There's going to be 7 more episodes of a 10-episode season, and we'll likely come back and give our final thoughts after it's all concluded. But overall, man, I'll pass it over to you. How are you feeling about the return and sort of these introductory 3 episodes of this new season of Severance?
Yeah, I actually probably found out about Severance by you, was my guess. Actually, I was like, Severance. Oh, what is this show? What's going on here? But that first season, it was so captivating, so different from anything I had ever seen. And what's so good about Severance too is the premise is so good that you can honestly just do so much from the premise alone. Like it's just such a good premise. It's like, okay, where are we going with this? What are we doing? And it's such a visually interesting show as well. And coming into season 2, what's crazy is so far, it's probably already even more visually striking than the first one in some ways. Like, I'm like, what's going on here? What? This looks crazy. Like, they're doing crazy camera movements off the jump. The color blue is everywhere. There's just so much kind of happening. And it's been an interesting, I think, mind-bending show still, even leading into season 2. I think for right now, I know it's the first 3 episodes. I'm still waiting on things to heat up a little bit. Like, things are happening. And it's still interesting. I still love to watch every episode. Okay, what's going to happen next? But I'm like, man, okay, when is the shit going to hit the fan? And I think that moment is going to come. It just hasn't happened yet for me. And so yeah, man, it's still intriguing. I still like to watch it. I think I'm still both satisfied and unsatisfied, but for I think the right reasons. Hopefully the payoff is what I need it to be, because it's still very much every episode. It's not answering a ton of questions. Instead, it's I keep finding myself being like, okay, but what are we doing here? What is Lumen? Like, I still don't know none of the questions, none of the answers to any of the questions. And so I'm hoping a lot of this gets resolved, and I think that'll help me in how I feel about season 2. But right now, I still love to watch. It's still a interesting show, very visually striking show. I'm still enjoying myself. I think for me, the first 3 episodes, it's like, okay, we're still doing good, but where are we going to go from here?
So Severance, this has been something I've been really excited about to return to Apple TV Plus, because I think what's interesting about season 2 is that these first 3 episodes are kind of reflecting, I think, the experience that I had with season 1, because I did hear about the show and I heard how good it was, and I started to watch it, and the first episode hooked me, and then you really get deep into the show, into the story, and it's all interesting, but at the same time I was having questions about, okay, but where is this going? What's the meaning of this? What's really happening? How long is this sort of mystery box idea going to play out? Because
Yeah,
it's tricky to walk that tightrope, to have people return on a weekly basis and still feel like that they want to show up the next week when you're not answering a ton of questions. And I just had a couple of people just reassuring me, like, just stick with it, just wait, give it that time. And I'm often hesitant to that, because I'm like, well, if a show can't grab me in 3 episodes, like,
yeah.
that's a problem. Like, I shouldn't have to give an entire season over to a show. But I was like, you know what, fine, I'll just wait and I'll just like see it through. And by the end of it, those final few episodes, it's like, oh my goodness, this is much bigger than I anticipated. This is crazier than I thought. And I think we are seeing the same thing play out with the second
Hmm.
season. And because they sort of proved themselves with the first season and you had that big payoff with the end, it's like, well, okay, I'm signed up.
Hmm.
I'm invested in this. I'm going to give you that same leeway, that same latitude for the second season because these first 3 episodes have set up a lot of things. They have addressed a lot of things that have taken place over the past season, in particular, the mutiny that went down, which was like kind of the big reveal and the big sort of crescendo of season one. That's been the focus of a lot of these first episodes. And I think ultimately what is a strength of what we've seen so far is the fact that, we're giving sort of equal time to both the innies and the outies. And the first episode in particular focused a lot on the innies within the world that they've created, which was
Yeah,
cool and interesting and a great place to sort of reestablish like our main characters, where we are, where everybody is. But I find myself more interested in what's happening with the outies and
I
their
agree.
personal lives. And we
Hmm.
really dive into that in the second episode and also the third episode as well. And that stuff is like really sort of unlocking some new ideas and some new things that weren't as touched on in the first season that I'm like, oh, there's a lot of territory that we can explore here. But I would have to agree, all of the really cool visual tricks that they're doing in this season are just, it's really impressive stuff. The whole running sequence that Adam Scott had to do in the
So
opening of
good.
season one,
It was
just
so good.
incredible. I mean, they said that they filmed that for like 5 months. I'm just like, that's an insane
Wow.
amount of work for maybe a 2 or 3 minute sequence, but you can tell
Yeah.
like they had to really get this right. And he probably was sick of running and got his miles in for sure. But that stuff, and even the opening title sequence, it's different this year. It looks crazy and
Hmm.
inventive and beautiful, and just all of the mystery and the little things that they're adding in, some of the Easter eggs. It's a show that I
Hmm.
think rewards you paying attention to it. Like you very much have to sit there and sort of lock in and watch every frame and watch all of the motions and the actions of the characters, because all the stuff that they add in here really counts. And I think as we continue on with the season, we're going to see stuff start to snap into focus and make a lot more sense in the future. So I think they're on a good pace and a good track for the rest of the season. I have a lot of faith in them that they'll be able to land this plane come the end of season 2, but we'll see in a few weeks. But folks, those are all of our thoughts on the first 3 episodes of season 2 of Severance on Apple TV Plus. If you've checked it out, definitely hit us up and let us know what you think.